Shalom. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to face the east, and I would like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth, as well as much respect and honors to the brothers that are pushing this truth in sincerity across the four winds of this earth and risking their lives and freedom to do so. I would also like to give much honors and respect to the brothers and sisters that are of the hopeful elect that are doing their very best to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to the best of their abilities. Shalom. Okay, the title of this lesson is going to be something along the lines of the end is near. Continue to fight the good fight. And that's right, okay, because the end is near. We're at the end of this thing. The Most High Yahweh Shai is about ready to wrap this thing up. We're at the end of Esau Edom's rulership. This devil doesn't have much longer in the power seat. Here it is. I mean, we're hearing about wars and rumors of wars, okay? You got all these other nations that are threatening war with America. A lot of these other nations, they're gearing up, getting ready for war, okay? You got, civil unrest is breaking out in various parts of the world. Civil unrest is sparking up in various parts over here in Babylon the Great, okay? You got racial tension that's building up over here in Babylon the Great, And so with that being said, the Most High Yahweh Shai is about ready to wrap things up. And so with that being said, you have to continue to endure, Israel. You have to endure to the very end. Now here it is. You got a lot of, people who have claimed to have been in this truth. They're now, falling out, okay, and going back into the world. And that right there, I mean, that's terrible, okay? Because again, the Most High Yahweh Shai is about ready to wrap this thing up. We're at the end of this thing. And you're having a lot of people now that have once claimed they have been in the truth. They're now, falling out of the truth and going back into the world. And all that's going to do is just lead to their destruction. If you claim to have once been in this truth and you fall out and go back into the world, all that's going to do is just lead to your destruction. Because this world has nothing to offer. Because again, you got the wicked that's currently in rulership. And that wicked is Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. And these devils, they have wickedness covered on all levels, okay? And so you have to continue to endure to the very end, Israel. And don't allow the people of this world, don't allow the things of this world to cause you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world. Because all that's going to do is just lead to your destruction. And see, I'm speaking to myself as well too, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and bring out a few scriptures. The first scripture I want to go to is in the book of Matthew, and this is chapter 24, and this is verse 13. And it reads, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." Okay, and see, speaking of saved, you got a lot of people out here who claim to be saved. But yet here it is. I mean, they're still subjected to these devils. Okay, we're behind enemy lines. Okay, this devil Esau, he's still in the power seat. And so we're still subjected to these devils. We need deliverance. Okay, now here it is. I saw a TikTok video today where you had this Jake, and he claimed to, he said that he was a successful Jake. And here it is. I mean, the Jake was video recording. The police had pulled him over. Okay, and he had, this Jake, he said he was a successful businessman. Here it is. I mean, he had like a brand new Corvette, and a Corvette, I know it. I haven't really priced Corvettes, but I know they're every bit of $90,000 to $100,000, and he had a brand new one. Now here it is. I mean, he was pulled over by the police. The police had pulled him outside of that Corvette. Him and his son. I think his son was probably no more than maybe 7 or 8 years old. Him and his son had been pulled over by the police, and the police made him get out of the vehicle. And I guess because, and see, the police, they wanted to search his vehicle. They were basically profiling him. Okay. They wanted to search his vehicle, and I guess because he didn't allow them to search the vehicle, they called a canine squad out there, okay? And they had the dog to circle that Jake's vehicle, and you could tell they were profiling him because they had the dog to go around the vehicle at least 4 or 5 times, hoping that dog would would alert them that there was some drugs or something like that in that vehicle, so they could so they could go in there and search his vehicle. Now here it is. I mean, he had a brand new Corvette. And they had that dog going around that Corvette. The dog was jumping on the vehicle, putting his paws and things like that up on the vehicle, scratching the vehicle and whatnot, And so when you hear about things like this right here happening, this just shows you that we're still behind enemy lines. And even though that Jake, he was saying that he was successful, okay, he was saying that, I think he even said that he was a successful businessman, and I think he was saying that he makes close to $500,000 a year. But even though, I mean, he says he was a successful businessman, and and he says that he's making close to $500,000 a year, you know, and he was riding around in a brand new Corvette. Even that right there, all of those things couldn't save him, okay, from Esau, you know, pulling him over, okay, and searching his vehicle and having that dog to circle around his vehicle and scratch up that vehicle, you know. All of the success that he had claimed to have had, okay, could not save him from Esau, okay. And so this right here, it just, again, it shows you that we're behind enemy lines, okay. Now here it is. I mean, you know, you have a lot of people, as I was saying, they claim to be saved, but yet here it is. They can go out there to their car and unlock their car door, and then Esau can roll up on them and claim that they're trying to break into the car and go upside their head with a billy club. So again, we're behind enemy lines. We need deliverance, okay. And again, I mean, when you hear about these things happening, like what I was telling you about, what I saw in that TikTok video, again, it just shows you that we're behind enemy lines. Matthew chapter 24, this is verse 13 again. It says, but he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. Okay, and so you have to endure to the end, the very end, Israel, you know. And see, this place, it's not going to stand for much longer. America is going to be destroyed. America's going to get hit with thermonuclear missiles. You got all these other nations, they're gearing up for war right now as we speak. You got all these other nations, they're threatening war with America right now as we speak. Even America's allies are beginning to turn on America, okay? And so we have to continue to endure. We have to continue to fear our higher power. You know, keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability so that we can, you know, continue to have that hedge of protection over us, you know, and be delivered up out of this place and not left over here to be destroyed. You have to endure to the very end. And again, I'm speaking to myself as well. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13 again, it says, but he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. And again, as I was saying, you have a lot of people that have once claimed to have been in this truth. Now they're falling out and going back into the world. That's no good, because again, this world has nothing to offer. You got the wicked that's currently in rulership. And these devils, they got wickedness covered on all levels. So falling out of this truth and going back into the world, it's going to only lead to your destruction. So with that being said, you know, we have to continue to endure. And we should be like King David. We should pray to the Most High Yahweh Shah constantly, you know, to not take the Holy Spirit from us and cast us away. Because if the Most High Yahweh Shah takes the Holy Spirit from you and casts you back out into the world, all that's going to do is just lead to your destruction. Matthew chapter 24, and this is verse 14. And it reads, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And see, here it is, we're preaching, you know, the gospel of the kingdom, which is the same gospel that our big brother Yahweh preached. Whether, you know, the people want to hear it off a bird. You know, and the kingdom is about the Lord coming back, you know, and setting up the new righteous kingdom here on earth. Okay? And see, and this will be a kingdom, you know, that's going to be ruled over by Israelites. You know, starting with, you know, Yahweh along with the 144,000 elect men of Israel. Matthew chapter 24, and this is verse 14 again. It says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And see, after this gospel is preached, you know, to where all Israelites are scattered, you know, then the Lord is going to bring the end. Okay, and that end is near, you know. But, you know, before the Lord brings the end, you know, there's a few more prophecies that have to play out, you know, such as the implementation of the MO to the T to the B, which that MO to the T to the B, it's already here, okay? It just hadn't been mandated as yet, but you best believe very soon these devils are going to mandate it, okay? Jacob's trouble has to play out, which Jacob's trouble is knocking at the door. You already got hell that's beginning to break loose over here in various parts of Babylon the Great. And eventually, once Jacob's trouble comes into full effect, then all hell is going to be breaking loose, you know? The destruction of Babylon the Great, okay, which is going to come with World War III. Okay, you got all these other nations that are threatening war with America right now as we speak. You got all these other nations that are gearing up for war. Even America's allies are turning on America, you know. And, you know, the deliverance of the Lord's elect, okay, because the Lord is going to deliver his elect before, you know, this place is destroyed, before he destroys this place. And again, Lord willing, we are of that elect number. But in order to be of that elect number, you have to continue to endure. Okay, you can't allow the people of this world, you can't allow the things of this world cause you to fall out of this truth, you know, and go back into the world, you know, because all that's going to do is just lead to your destruction. But, you know, Again, we're very close, to the Lord Yahweh Shah bringing this thing to an end. And so with that being said, now is the time to get right with the Lord Yahweh Shah. Now is the time to repent, Israel, if you haven't already done so. Okay? And, you have to continue to endure. You have to endure to the very end. Because, again, we don't have much longer. The Lord Yahweh Shah is about ready to bring the end. That end is near. So you have to continue to endure and not allow anyone, okay, or anything to cause you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world. You have to continue to endure, so that you can have a spot on those chariots, and be delivered up out of this place and not left over here to be destroyed. Okay. Let's let's go to the book of John, and this is 1 John. This is chapter 5, this is verse 19. And it reads, "And we know that we are of the Most High, and the whole world lieth in wickedness." Okay, and see, the children of the Most High is the nation of Israel. Okay, starting with, which is you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those that are of the speckled bird that look like these other nations, but you go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob on your father's side. And with that being said, the whole world lied in wickedness. Okay, because you got the wicked that's bearing rule. And again, that wicked is Esau, Edom. This is why you're having, wars and rumors of wars. This is why we're hearing about pesticides that are on the rise. Okay, this is why we're hearing about, people in the uproar and whatnot. This is why we're hearing about, all types of diseases and things like that on the rise. These devils, here it is. You got food shortages that are happening all over the world. And these devils, they're trying to engineer food shortages over here in Babylon the Great. Okay, you got people, they're getting sick and they're perishing and whatnot over here. You got people that are homeless. Okay, here it is. You got so many people, they're taking to social media and they're complaining about, trying to keep up with the inflation and whatnot. Okay, you got people living in their vehicles. You got people living in storage units and whatnot. The unemployment rate is on the rise over here. And that's because you got the wicked that's currently in rulership. The whole earth lied in wickedness because you got the wicked that's currently in rulership. And again, that wicked is Esau, Edom. 1 John chapter 5, this is verse 19 again. It says, "And we know that we are of the Most High, and the whole world lied in wickedness." Okay, and see, here it is. These devils are trying to bring in their NWO. Okay, and they're trying to make people a permanent slave to the NWO. Eventually these devils, they're going to come down with great wrath, and they're going to try to force everyone to get that MO to the T to the B, that implantable grain of rice. And if you get that, Israel, the Most High Yahweh Shah is going to destroy you. Okay? But again, this is why we need deliverance, because the whole earth lied in wickedness. Okay? You even got 2/3 of our people over here in Babylon the Great. Okay? They're partaking in wickedness. Here it is. 2/3 of our own people, have become our enemies. You have, 2/3 of our people, they'll come up, to the men of the Lord. They mock and scoff the men of the Lord. They make little, rude comments. They roll their eyes. Here it is yesterday. Okay, I was attending camp, with GMS in DC. And here it is. Someone, some bug out, out the blue, got a football and threw it over there where we were at, just threw a football at us. Again, like I say, the whole earth lied in wickedness, and we need deliverance, and so this is why you have to continue to endure and not fall out of this truth, Israel, because if you fall out of this truth and go back into the world, all that's going to do is just lead to your destruction. 2/3 of our people over here in Babylon the Great, they're going to be destroyed because of the wickedness that they're partaking in. They don't want to repent. They don't want to come up out of the ways of Babylon the Great. So therefore, they're going to fall over here in Babylon the Great, right along with these Edomites and the rest of these heathens. Okay, this is the book of Psalm, and this is chapter 10, and this is verse 15. And it reads, "Break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness until thou find none." Okay, and so with that being said, the Lord is going to eventually destroy these devils. The Lord is going to destroy this wicked queen of Esau and strip this devil of his rulership. Because if the Most High didn't, this devil would destroy the entire planet, okay? Because this devil, he's ruling in wickedness, and he's defiling everything, you know? And so the Lord is going to, bring these devils down, okay? The Lord is actually bringing down this wicked queen of Esau right now as we speak, okay? We're at the end of this devil's rulership. This devil's kingdom is literally falling right before our eyes, and it's going to fall very soon, Lord willing, you know? So, with that being said, you have to repent as well. You have to, and continue to endure. But again, this place is literally falling right before our eyes. You can literally see this place falling. Again, you got, the economy is collapsing over here. Okay, you got inflation that's on the rise. The work is drying up over here. Okay, there's reports of food shortages that are happening in various parts of Babylon the Great. Like I say, people are becoming unemployed. The unemployment rate is just steadily on the rise. People becoming homeless. People, are struggling to try to make the ends meet. People are bugging out and crashing out over the smallest little things. You got crime and violence on the rise. You got all these other nations that are threatening war with this place. We're literally seeing the downfall of Babylon the Great. The Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua is bringing these devils down. The Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua is bringing down this wicked queen of Esau. This place is on its way out, and it's going to fall. And again, those by people, who took their hands off the plow, those by people who, fell out of this truth and went back into the world, it's not going to end well for them. Not going to end well for them. Okay, this is Hebrews, and this is chapter 11, and this is verse 1. And it reads, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Okay, and see, those of us that are of the hopeful elect, even though we don't physically see the new righteous kingdom, we know that it's going to come. Okay, we have faith that the new righteous kingdom is going to come very soon. We have faith in the Lord's words. Okay, and we're seeing the prophecies pop off the pages. And so, we're not worrying about, the non-believers, And with that being said, don't allow the non-believers, cause you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world. Okay? Because in the day of the Lord, the non-believers, they will believe then, but it's going to be too late then. Okay? It's going to be too late for them. They're going to meet the wrath of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The 2/3 white people, they're going to be destroyed over here. They're going to eat a nuclear missile over here. They're going to either eat a nuclear missile over here, or they're going to get caught into the race riots, the civil unrest. They're going to get caught into some type of freak accident. But that ultimate judgment that's going to come to America, okay, that's going to destroy the 2/3 white people, right along with these Edomites and the rest of these heathens, it's going to come from that thermonuclear destruction. Hebrews chapter 11, this is verse 1 again. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And see, speaking of the 2/3, the 2/3, they have faith in their paychecks, which is just basically a piece of paper, that's not backed by anything. Here it is, the 2/3 white people, they got they have faith in Esau's system, which is crumbling right before our eyes, And see, with that being said, the 2/3 white people, they look at this devil Esau as being their higher power. And see, and this is why 2/3 white people, they're going to run down to the Esau. Okay, we need mandates that MO to the T to the B. They're going to run down there and they're going to allow Esau to violate them with that MO to the T to the B, which is going to lead to their destruction. Because the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua told us to stay clear of that MO to the T to the B. But you're going to have 2/3 white people, they're going to run down there and get it. The 2/3 white people, they like faith, Just like how, during that sea scandemic, okay, you had a lot of our people, they ran down to the Esau and they drank this beetle juice, so that they could save their jobs, so that they could save their lifestyle that they was accustomed to living. Okay, you're going to have, a lot of our people, they're going to run down to the Esau, and they're going to get that MO to the T to the B. The 2/3 of our people, they're going to run down to the Esau and they're going to get that MO to the T to the B, and that's going to lead to their destruction. And see, here it is, speaking of that sea scandemic, with that beetle juice that Esau came out with, a lot of people who took that stuff, having all types of issues and whatnot. Here it is, I was talking to a guy I know, a friend of mine that's in the world. Okay, he ran down there, he took 3 of them things. Okay, and here it is, I want to say a little more than maybe 2.5 weeks ago, he had a stroke. Okay, I talked to him today. He says he's doing better, but also too, when I was talking to him today, his sister, who also took it, okay, here it is. He told me that she has breast cancer now, you know? And see, and then a while back when Esau was pushing that stuff, I tried to warn my friend, not to get it, but he ran down there and got it anyway. And then also, he had talked his brother into getting it, and his brother got it. And within 2 weeks of his brother getting the first drink of that stuff, his brother had a stroke and died. 3 months after his brother passed away, his sister, died of a heart attack after taking it. And so the point I'm trying to make is, here it is, you have a lot of our people, they lack faith. And just like how a lot of our people, they lack faith, during that sea scamdemic, and they ran down there and they trusted in Esau with that stuff, the same thing is going to happen when Esau mandates that M.O. to the T to the B. You're going to have a lot of our people, they're going to run down to Esau, and they're going to allow Esau to give them that M.O. to the T to the B. And that right there is going to lead to their destruction. Okay? But as for the Lord's elect is going to continue to have faith in the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is not going to trust this devil Esau. The Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Salakia, the elect of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is not going to allow this devil Esau to violate them with that M.O. to the T to the V. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, Lord willing, we are that elect number, because the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to have a hedge of protection around his elect. And the elect is not going to bow down to this devil Esau and allow Esau to violate them with that M.O. to the T to the B. But as for the 2/3 of our people, they're going to run down there and they're going to get it. And again, that's going to lead to their destruction. Okay. Bear with me, Israel. I want to go to the book of Luke. This is 21, verse 19. Okay, this is Luke chapter 21. This is verse 19. And it reads, in your patience, possess ye your souls. Okay, and see, having patience, in this faith will save your souls. Okay, anytime you lose patience, okay, anytime, you feel that you're too good to suffer, anytime you feel that you're too good to go through, the refinement that the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua has for you, anytime you take on the spirit that you have to have it now, that's a sign of losing patience, okay? And when you lose patience in this faith, that right there will lead to your destruction. And see, again, this current world of Esau's, it's going to pass away. It's literally crumbling right now before our eyes. This place is on life support, and that plug is soon about to be pulled. So again, don't allow the things of this world, okay, or the people of this world, cause you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world. Because again, all it's going to do is lead to your destruction. And see, here it is, what Satan will do is, he'll try to use the things of this world to try to tempt you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world. Satan, he'll even hop on family members, okay? He'll even hop on your significant other, okay, to try to get you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world. But again, you can't allow the things of this world, you can't allow, the people of this world to cause you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world, because again, all that's going to do is just lead to your destruction. Okay, I want to go to the book of Colossians. And y'all got to bear with me. My phone is kind of slow. The internet on my phone is slow. But yeah, this is Colossians, and this is chapter 3, and this is verse 2. And it reads, set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. Okay? And see, the things of this current world, they're going to, pass away. Okay? And see, those with the eye salve, they can literally see this kingdom of Esau's is crumbling. Okay? It's on its way out. And with that being said, the things of this world, they break down, they grow old, they rot. This devil Esau, he can take them at any given time, because he's currently in the power seat. And so with that being said, we should be focusing on the things above, okay, which is the new righteous kingdom that's soon to come, and in the new righteous kingdom, you'll get new bodies, you'll have everlasting riches, and you will have forever to enjoy them. So again, we should be focusing on the things above, which is the new righteous kingdom, and not this current, setup of Esau's. Because again, this place is going to pass away. It's literally crumbling right now as we speak. this devil doesn't have much longer in the power seat. We're at the end of this devil's rulership. Okay, this is Revelation, and this is chapter 3, and I want to start in verse 15, and it reads, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. Okay, verse 16, it says, so then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Okay, and so with that being said, you got to be on fire for this truth. Okay, you know, you got to strive for this truth. You know, you got to fight through all your adversities, you know, that you may encounter. You got to continue to be on fire. You got to continue to be hot for this truth. You know, and again, you got to continue to, strive for this truth until death. You know, and if you don't, the Most High Yahweh Shah will spew you out. Okay, you got to want the kingdom. You know, you got to be hot for it. You got to want the kingdom. And again, you got to continue to endure to the very end. Okay, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 40, and this is verse 26. And it reads, riches and strength lifted up the heart, but the fear of the Lord is above them both. There is no want in the fear of the Lord, and it needed not to seek help. Okay, and so, you know, with that being said, you know, it's a good feeling, you know, when you have money in your pocket. You know, it's a good feeling when your body's feeling A1. You know, but fearing the Lord is above all of those things. Okay, and see, and by fearing the Lord, you know, the Lord will ensure that you get your daily bread. Okay, the Lord will ensure that you and yours have everything you need to survive. Okay, when you fear the Lord, you know, you won't have a want or a need for anything, you know, because the Lord is going to ensure that you and yours have everything you need to survive. Okay, Ecclesiastes chapter 40, and this is verse 26 again. It says, riches and strength lifted up the heart, but the fear of the Lord is above them both. Again, okay, the fear of the Lord is the greatest thing that you can do. It's the greatest thing you can have. Fearing the Lord is the greatest thing you can have, because if you fear the Lord, again, the Lord is going to make sure that you and yours are protected. Okay, it says, there is no want in the fear of the Lord, because again, the Lord, he protects those who fear him, you know. It says, and it needed not to seek help. Again, if you fear the Lord, Yahweh Shah, the Lord is going to ensure that you and yours have everything you need to survive. The Lord is going to ensure that you get your daily bread. Okay, the Lord is going to continue to provide that hedge of protection over you, you know. So you have to continue to fear the Lord, Israel. And I'm speaking to myself as well. You have to continue to endure until the very end, you know, so that you can be, you know, spared and saved, you know, and delivered up out of this place and not left over here to be destroyed. Okay, this is Romans, and this is chapter 12, and this is verse 2. And it reads, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. Okay, and see, here it is, you know, we're learning the proper way, you know, to move and act. Okay, we put off the old man, okay, and we put on the new righteous man. You know, we put off the ways of the heathen, okay, and we put on the ways of our Father, you know. And again, you must continue to walk in righteousness, okay, so that you can inherit the new righteous kingdom, you know, in the end. You know, and you know, you can inherit those new righteous bodies and everlasting riches, and have forever to enjoy those everlasting riches. So again, you have to continue to endure, Israel, and not allow anything or anyone to cause you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world. Okay, this is the book of Second Ezra, and this is chapter 7, and I want to start in verse 7. And it reads, the entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water. Second Ezra chapter 7, this is verse 8. It says, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. Okay, and see, this right here is ultimately talking about, the straight and narrow path, that's leading to the kingdom. Okay, the path is narrow and it's straight, and nobody can walk it for you. Okay, and see, as it speaks of in the book, I want to say that's Philippians chapter 2 and verse 12. You have to work out your own salvation, with fear and trembling. And so with that being said, we're going to face some adversities. We're going to face some obstacles. Okay, you're going to face some things that's going to try to, pull you back, into the world. But, with that being said, you have to stay built up in this faith and work through all of those different adversities, okay, and obstacles, okay, and stay on this straight, and narrow path, so that you can overcome the things of this world, okay, because here it is, allowing the things of this world, allowing the people of this world, to pull you off this path of righteousness and go back into, the world. That's just going to only lead to your destruction, okay? And so with that being said, Israel, you have to continue to endure, okay? You have to continue to stay on this straight and narrow path of righteousness, and not allow the people of this world, okay, not allow family members, friends, not allow the things of this world, okay, to cause you to fall off that path of righteousness and go back into the world. Because again, this world has nothing to offer. You got the wicked that's currently in rulership, and again, that wicked is Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. And these devils have wickedness covered on all levels, okay? This world has nothing to offer but confusion, disease, death, and destruction. See, this devil, he wants to lead off a bunch of people, okay? This is why this devil, he's defiling everything. From the air, okay, to the water, to the food. This devil, he's pushing out all types of wicked philosophies and whatnot. It's got a lot of our people's minds all messed up and whatnot, okay? Again, this place has nothing to offer because you got the wicked that's bearing rule. Going back into the world is just going to only lead to your destruction. Falling out of this truth and going back into the world is going to only lead to your destruction again, because you got the wicked that's currently in rulership. And again, these devils got wickedness covered on all levels. Okay, this is Revelation chapter 2, and this is verse 26. And it reads, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Okay? And so, you have to endure to the very end. Okay? And with that being said, you're going to face some adversities, okay, when you're walking in this truth, but you got to remain faithful, okay, until the end. And you got to overcome those adversities and not allow those adversities, to pull you off this path of righteousness. Because, again, that's going to only lead to your destruction, okay? And so with that being said, now it's not the time, to become complacent, okay? Israel, you have to continue, to walk this path of righteousness, okay? You have to continue to endure to the very end. Because again, becoming complacent and falling out of this truth and, and just going back into the world, that's just a recipe for your destruction. Okay, you got to strive for this truth until death. Okay, and don't allow, anyone to take that crown from you. Okay, don't allow the things of this world, don't allow the people of this world, to cause you to lose your crown. Okay, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 4, and this is verse 28. And it reads, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord will fight for thee. Okay, you got to strive for this truth unto death. Okay? And again, you can't allow the people of this world, you can't allow the things of this world. Because again, here it is, Satan, he'll try to tempt you with the things of this world. He'll try to tempt you with the, he'll hop on family members, he'll hop on friends, okay? He'll hop on the people of this world to try to get you to, to lose focus and fall out of this truth and go back into the world, okay? Again, you got to continue to strive for this truth, because again, this world has nothing to offer. You got the wicked that's bearing rule, And that wicked is Esau Edom. And this devil has everything defiled over here. You know, I mean, wickedness is at an all-time high. And see, here it is. You got a lot of our people. They're putting all of their faith and trust in this devil. And they're coming up short, okay? A lot of our people, I mean, like I say, you know, they're dropping left and right out here. It seems like almost every week, almost every other week or so, I'm hearing about someone that I know, okay, they're passing away. And they're not that old. They're just passing away out of the blue. And that's because, I mean, you know, you got a lot of our people. They ran down there and they trusted in this devil. They're putting all their faith and trust in this devil. You know? Like I was saying, I mean, you know, here it is. I got a friend that was in the world earlier. Okay, here it is. He had a stroke about maybe 2.5 weeks ago. You know? Here it is. He was telling me today that his sister, his baby sister, has breast cancer. And see, they all ran down there, I mean, like, you know, the Esau, and they drink that Beetlejuice, you know? Ecclesiastes chapter 4, this is verse 28 again. It says, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. Okay, again, you got to strive for the truth until death. Okay, and don't allow the, you know, the things of this world or the people of this world, you know, to cause you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world, because that's just going to only lead to your destruction. And you got to continue to strive for this truth. If you continue to strive for this truth, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua will fight for you. Okay, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua will ensure that you and yours are good. You know, and here it is. You got Jacob's trouble that's knocking at the door. Okay, you already got hell that's beginning to break loose over here in various parts of Babylon the Great. When Jacob's trouble comes into full effect, then all hell is going to be breaking loose. Okay? When Jacob's trouble comes into effect, you're going to be having race riots. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You know, happening at a, you know, at an all-time high. You're going to be having civil unrest. Okay, you're going to be having people looting and rioting. Okay, you're going to be having all hell breaking loose. You know? And again, those black people that, you know, that had claimed they had once been in this truth and they had fallen out of this truth, those white people that went back into the world, they're going to get caught into those evils and those calamities, you know, right along with these Edomites and the rest of these heathens. You know, those white people who want to be a part of this world, they're going to fall with this world. They're going to fall with this current system, this system of Esau's. Those white people who want to be a part of this system of Esau's, that's what I'm trying to say. They're going to fall with this devil, you know, because again, this place is literally falling right before our eyes. And those white people who want to go back into the world, are those white people who don't want to repent. They just want to remain, you know, in the wickedness and the folly that's pushed out over here in Babylon the Great. They're going to fall over here. It's not going to end well for them. Okay, I got one more scripture I want to bring out, and then we're going to end the lesson. And this is Revelations, and this is chapter 3, and this is verse 11. And it reads, behold, I'll come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Okay, and so with that being said, you got to hold on to this truth. Okay, you got to hold on to it real tight, and don't allow, you know, the things of this world. Okay, don't allow the people of this world, okay, to cause you to fall out of this truth and lose your crown. You know, don't drift away from this truth, you know, and go back into the world, because again, all that's going to do is just lead to your destruction. And as I was saying, Satan, what he'll do is he'll try to use the riches of this world. Okay, he'll try to even use the, you know, the people of this world. He'll hop on family members and whatnot to try to get you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world. You know? And again, if you allow that to happen, all that's going to do is just lead to your destruction. Okay? Let's read this again. This is Revelation chapter 3, and this is verse 11 again. It says, behold, I'll come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Again, Israel, you got to hold on to this truth, okay? Continue to endure, and don't allow anyone or anything, okay, to cause you to fall out of this truth and go back into the world and lose your crown, okay? Continue to endure, you know? Endure to the very end, you know, so that you can have that hedge of protection over you, and so that you can be delivered. You know, and to, you know, and inherit the new righteous kingdom, and inherit new righteous bodies with everlasting riches, and you will have forever to enjoy them. But you have to continue to endure, okay? And so, you know, that's pretty much the point. I'm going to go ahead and end off here. I hope it was edifying. Once again, I want to face the east. And I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Kwam Yasharala and Abal Baba. Shalom.